Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365. The Brewers take round one in Milwaukee, but Cubs fans lose a lot more than a baseball game. They lose a legend. Remembering Rhino and more coming up next. Welcome into the CHGO Cubs podcast. A difficult night for Cubs Nation, as during the Cubs-Brewers game, the Cubs announced the news that Cubs Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg had passed away at the age of 65 earlier today at his home in the north suburbs, the Wrigley Field marquee, now with Ryne Sandberg and his years, which is hard to believe. Because just over a year ago, he had announced that he was cancer-free. Then we got the news that the cancer was back and had spread. And after a really tough battle, Ryne Sandberg has passed away. We're here on the CHGO Cubs podcast to talk about Rhino. We're here to talk about the baseball game because he'd want us to. And we're going to probably talk even a little bit of trade stuff. But we're also here to be with other Cubs fans here in the live YouTube chat. So you can leave your memories of Rhino, your thoughts of Rhino. We're all thinking about his family, his wife Margaret, his grandkids, his kids, everybody that knew him, his teammates. We will talk about all of it here on the CHGO Cubs podcast, even though we had a quick break in earlier and we talked about it right away. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Kostopoulos, and Justin Roman with you. Sarah's running the show over there for us. Just a tough night. I mean, you're watching the Brewers come back on the Cubs, and you think it's important. And then you realize it's not important.
Right.
Like we'll talk about the baseball game because Rhino would want us to talk about the baseball game because, quote, unquote, that's respect.
Mm-hmm.
But we will also respect Ryne Sandberg. Just initially, what did Rhino mean to you? What did he mean to you as a fan?
Well, for people that we jumped on and we did an emergency show really quick, so thank you for tuning in. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself a little bit, but for Rhino, for me was... And a lot of us are going to ingest this personally. And personally for me, this is my first baseball hero. And this is my first, I'm 41 years old. I've been very lucky. This is my first sports hero that has passed. So this is really a really, really difficult time. And for me personally with Rhino was a player that could do it all. Rhino was a player that made you believe that a second baseman can win an MVP award. He was the type of player that made you believe he could hit 2 home runs off Bruce Sutter, which you guys know very well about. We'll talk plenty about that. But also, the part for me that was so special was, and I said it before, but I'm going to do it again, is that a lot of people do the thing of like, well, MJ unretired and then he came back. Wasn't that amazing? For those that remember, Rhino did it first. And the day that Rhino retired, I cried my eyes out. And the fact that a year later, I came home and was able to open up a Chicago Tribune and read that Rhino was coming back, even if it was for that short span of time, was such an amazing, amazing blessing for me. And in many ways, Rhino helped me fall in love with baseball. I mean, he was number 23. That number means a lot in town. And we talked about it. There was that Topps baseball card, and it was horizontal. And it was Rhino swinging with a packed Wrigleyville behind it. And the picture's worth 1,000 words. I think that baseball card, not just watching the Cubs games, I think that baseball card alone helped me fall in love with baseball. And the fact that Rhino was in it front and center is very apropos. And tonight is definitely, the Cubs lost. Cubs play tomorrow. Tonight is a night to celebrate Rhino. And I'm just glad to be here with you two guys.
Yeah.
Here for it, especially the stories that you have to tell, and we're all Rhino fans.
Yeah, I was so excited to have my first podcast with you guys, and I thought it was going to be celebrating the Cubs beating the Brewers, and it was just that's what my focus was on. I would have never guessed that my first time being on this podcast, I would have cried to anybody who watched. But that's what the man meant to me. I'm a grown man dressed the way I'm dressed right now because of the 1984 Cubs team. And Sandberg, by far and away, was the leader of that team. And that team made me fall in love with baseball. And that team is why I am a diehard and a lifelong crazy Cubs fan. I want to say I was 6, 7 years old, something like that. And that's my first memory of baseball. My first memories of the Cubs are that 84 team, I can still remember the Sandberg game. I can still remember when they clinched the division. And they're all running the field, and Harry Carey, the Cubs clinched it. I mean, I remember that so vividly. It's like my first childhood memories of baseball. And, when you're a kid, we've struggled. Is it a hero? Yeah, as a kid, Sandberg was my hero. Now, listen, I'm a lefty. I played first base. Didn't matter. Ryne Sandberg was my favorite player, and I imitated his batting stance. I'd be alone in my room. I'd do the whole 84 Cubs team, and Sandberg had that kind of like – I did all that stuff because I loved the man. And later in life, I got to meet him. And, and Luke, you have better stories than I do, but you said it best. Like, they say don't meet your heroes. Sandberg couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more pleasant, couldn't have been more appreciative. And this one's tough. I'm with you. I haven't really had any you guys may laugh at this, but like for me, Michael Jackson passing away was the first time one of my childhood heroes passed away. And that hit me really hard from a musical standpoint. This one hits me hard from a baseball, sports, Cubs standpoint. And I'd argue it's bigger because of what the Cubs have always meant to me and my family.
There will be a lot of great stuff on Marquee over the days. There will be a lot of great memories of Ryno, a lot of sad moments with his passing, 65 years old. The Cubs have released a statement as well as putting that up on the Marquee. Rest in peace to Ryno. The Cubs issued this statement. Ryne Sandberg was a hero to a generation of Chicago Cubs fans. Will be remembered as one of the all-time greats in nearly 150 years of this historic franchise, said Executive Chairman Tom Ricketts on behalf of his family and the Cubs organization. His dedication to and respect for the game, along with his unrelenting integrity, grit, hustle, and competitive fire, were hallmarks of his career. He was immensely proud of his teammates and his role as a global ambassador of the game. But most of all, he was proud of Margaret, his children, his role as a husband, father, and grandfather. Margaret and their children and grandchildren will always be a part of the Cubs family. Ryno will never be forgotten by the Cubs community and baseball fans around the world. It's very well said. I think of his family. I think of Margaret. I think of BR and his kids and his grandkids, that he just lit up when he talked about the grandkids. They were everything to him. Like, he loved Cubs baseball and he loved Wrigley Field, but his grandkids were top of the list. We're gonna talk more about Ryno. We did do a special podcast before this while the game was going on, talking about Ryno. I want you in the chat here at the YouTube chat, here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Give us your comments about him. We are going to talk about the baseball game now because knowing Ryno, he's watching it, and this is it, man. Like, if there's Cubs baseball, he wants to talk about it, and if there's baseball in general, he wants to talk about it. So we're going to respect him that way, and that we are going to talk about the game, but not for long. A good portion of the rest of the podcast will also go back and talk more about Ryne Sandberg, who he was as a player, who he was as a person, which is actually way more important than the baseball stuff. He just happened to be great at both of them.
And if I could tease one thing, you have an incredible story about Ryno that if you missed it earlier, you want to hear it, because I'm one of your peers, and I was impressed with that story of you and Ryno. So I want you to tell that story again later on.
Yeah, I will say Ryno and I, we developed a pretty nice little relationship. Cool. Like, for watching your favorite player in any sport for a long time, and he turns out to be great, is just, it's something special and something that I will certainly cherish. Ryno would have loved the 3-0 start.
Yeah.
First place Cubs against the first place Brewers, tied for the best record in the National League, a huge 3-game series. The day starts with the news about Jed Hoyer being extended as the general manager. And they get off to this 3-0 start with Matthew Boyd, their all-star and, as you could say, ace this season on the mound. And Boyd just didn't have it tonight.
No, he didn't. Uncharacteristically, too, because he's been a horse. And the marquee broadcast said it was the most runs he's given up, or tied for the most all year, I want to say.
I think he ended up giving up 5 in the performance. I think it was his season high. Yeah. He was tying at 4.
He didn't have it. And he was staked an early 3-0 lead against a phenomenal rookie pitcher that also didn't have it. And, you know, if I can tell you about our roller coaster of watching the game together after that first inning, we felt pretty good, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we felt really good. I mean, so that's what's so disappointing about tonight's game, right? The first inning, Jacob Mizorowski suddenly in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Phenom. What's he going to do? Pumping 101. First inning, Michael Busch, bloop single. Kyle Tucker was able to shake off some bad sliders inside. Coaxed a great walk. Seiya hits the ball hard off of Miz's leg, reaches base is loaded. PCA, tough night for PCA.
Yeah.
Swings at every pitch, but on a drop third strike, we were able to get our first run.
Yeah.
First run aboard. Carson Kelly on a questionable K, outside pitch looking, and then Ian Happ hits the ball maybe 4 or 5 feet. Jacob Mizorowski gathers the ball a little too fast, throws the ball way over the head of the first baseman. Bad throw there. So 2 errors in that inning, 2 runs. Dansby walk, 10-pitch Nico. He strikes out, but racking up the pitches for Mizorowski. We thought that we might have had the Brewers on the ropes. A team like the Brewers who seems to capitalize on every single mistake that the opposing team makes. The Cubs were finally capitalizing on the Brewers' mistakes to get some runs on the board. And you're right, Justin. Matthew Boyd simply did not have it. And look, I'm giving him a pass. I think everyone in the chat, I'm hopeful that you're giving Matthew Boyd a pass because he has been so good lately. And it was as simple tonight as he couldn't locate his fastball. He couldn't locate his breaking stuff. The only thing he really had going for him tonight was his changeup. If you're able to locate your changeup and nothing else, it's going to be a difficult night. And he just couldn't get, even in a couple of moments where Matt Shaw made 2 fantastic plays to get him out of an inning.
Yes.
Maybe that righted the ship to get Matthew Boyd back on track, but he just simply didn't have it tonight. And then, unfortunately, only 4 hits for the Chicago Cubs after the first inning.
Wow.
I mean, Luke, for a game 1 in this series that we've been building up with anticipation was not the way you wanted to start at all.
Baseball's a funny sport, isn't it? We all thought we were going to have that pitching showdown, a low-scoring game, the Miz going against Boyd, and Mizorowski looked like a rookie who was a little overwhelmed by the moment.
Yep.
And then Matthew Boyd, I don't know that he was overwhelmed by the moment. He just didn't have command of his fastball. He couldn't place it where he wanted to place it, and it led to trouble for the Cubs that, you know, they probably should have had even more than 3 runs in that first inning.
Totally.
And then in the 5th inning, they get 2 on, PCA at the plate. You think, oh, this is the big moment. Didn't happen. I don't know when the players found out about Ryne Sandberg. We've heard that he passed away this afternoon. Did the players know about it before the game? I don't know. I'm not going to say it had any impact on the game whatsoever, but it had an impact on Cubs fans watching the game.
Oh, yeah.
I know that. Like your focus on the game became blurred.
Well, behind the scenes here, we were all watching the game together, and Sarah found out, and she gasped and was like, oh, no, like, I mean, and then we all collectively moaned. I mean, it was like, yeah, and I kind of feel like that's what most Cub fans did when that tweet came across or when that post came across or when they heard it on Marquee. It's just, yeah, I imagine how we all felt and reacted is exactly how Chicago reacted.
We will talk about his Hall of Fame speech. We're going to read all the super chats coming up after a quick break. We are going to talk more about Rhino for sure, including a lot of your memories. And we are all going to talk trade stuff because Rhino, in my mind, is still the greatest trade in Chicago Cubs history, one of the greatest in Chicago sports history. Arrieta was a great trade. Ryne Sandberg is a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
And a legend, and one that we will greatly miss. So we're going to talk about Rhino more. We'll talk about the trade stuff and all the possible players that seem to be kind of falling off that list very quickly and how that might impact the Cubs' search to try and get back to the World Series, and maybe they can honor Ryne Sandberg with a championship this year. But first, a word from our sponsors at CHGO.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get that $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. You can pick whatever offer you want right now. I don't know. Maybe it's Cubs Brewers this week. Maybe it's a good time to dip your toe into some of that action. And here's the other fun part. MLB early payout offer. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the app and use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. New customers get $150 in bonus bets when you win $5, win or lose. So sign up today. CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus or over. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling, referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home flooring advantage, and Empire Today can deliver it. Empire Today has flooring experts. We've all been to the big box store. The neon lights, they might have a flooring department, but the person helping you in flooring might have been selling sinks and toilets yesterday. They might be watering the garden center tomorrow. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, pay attention. You can receive a $350 discount when you use the promo code CHGO. You heard me right. $350 off with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. Empire
Today.
Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast, the Cubs lose 8-4, and Cubs fans and baseball fans around the world, we lose Ryne Sandberg today, who passed away after a very difficult battle with cancer. The Cubs Hall of Famer, 65 years old. Stephen with a super chat for us saying the significance of Ryno and the impact he had on our team and the city is important. If Jed cares, he better improve this team and win it for him. I think a lot of people will say win it for Ryno. That will be a theme down the stretch here. There's no question about it. Ed Hardick told us on an earlier podcast that the Cubs will have some sort of patch that they've already started working on. Wouldn't be surprised to see it tomorrow. I'll be shocked if the number 23 isn't in a circle and behind home plate at Wrigley Field the rest of the season. And, of course, his 23 flag will fly at Wrigley Field forever, along with the statue at Gallagher Way. Knight 6776 in a super chat says, of course, as soon as Jed gets an extension, we get our butts kicked. Get Jed on those phones. Again, we're going to talk about it. Yeah. A little bit about the Hoyer extension and possibilities, but for me, that story just kind of got pushed to the side greatly, and deservedly so, out of respect for Ryne Sandberg. A lot of people saying great things about him in the chat. I saw somebody had a great quote. I believe it was from his Hall of Fame speech, which Barry Rosner from the Daily Herald and 670 The Score did a great job. And he helped co-write it or write it for Ryno. And Ryno had to prove a lot of that stuff, but I know that's what he wanted to say. Do you have that one, Sarah? It was before the show. It was talking about respect for the game. My favorite quote, get your work in, work hard at it, give it your best effort, and if you get an opportunity, be ready for it. That's respect for the game, and that's what Ryno was all about.
That's life, Luke.
It is.
That's life,
Translates.
man.
It translates. A lot of what he went through translates. So Jed Hoyer did get the extension announced by the Cubs this afternoon. We did an emergency podcast this afternoon about that, breaking in, talking about it here at CHGO. I don't think it has a great impact on the trade deadline and what's going on. I think the timing is not a coincidence, though. I think they wanted to show that he's the guy. He's going to be here, and these are going to be his decisions. He's not going to make decisions that are based on just one season trying to save his job. We've had a lot of players in the last, 24, 48 hours kind of fall out of the mix, right? You had Seth Lugo extended. Bubic is out for the year. Clase was suspended today by baseball for a gambling investigation.
That's crazy.
Gino Suarez was hit on the hand tonight. X-rays were clear, but it's the second time in 2 weeks he's been hit on the hand. And we've heard about the price for that. Somebody in the chat said that Dylan Cease was hit by a
16 minutes
today.
ago, scariest scene at Petco Park is Francisco Lindor hit Dylan Cease in the back of the head with a comebacker. So that's very, very recent news. Obviously, we're just hoping for Dylan
just
Cease
want him
to be
to be
healthy.
okay.
But yeah, this is a part of what you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm surprised that they pitched some of these guys because today alone, a few of the trade candidates they actually pitched. I mean, if Dylan Cease would have gotten hurt and he's out for the year, let's say, or even like 3 weeks, I mean, now your trade value has tanked, right? So I'm surprised. Yeah, Cabrera. I'm surprised some of these guys pitched today so close to the deadline.
maybe that's why Ben Brown threw only 57 pitches yesterday. No,
you
never know.
And I didn't see. I don't know if Iowa had a game tonight, but I know 3 of the big guys didn't play Sunday. Right? Casey didn't play. Long didn't play, and was it Alcantara didn't play?
I believe all 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't play yesterday, and I don't know if that was related, but you would think it's probably related. Yeah, it's a tricky thing to do. What if for Cabrera and the Marlins? What if the teams say no? I want to see one more. I want to see one more outing from him.
Yeah. But at this point, don't you know who these guys are?
I wouldn't pitch some of those guys, but maybe they know they're unlikely to trade him. So what are you going to do? Hold the guy for a whole another start? I ask you this: do all the injuries and Lugo being extended and things like that, are they raising the price for what the Cubs are going to pay? So because you're limiting your space. We also had McMahon traded to the Yankees, so that takes them out of the third base mix. Is the price going up for the Cubs, or is this not going to impact it that much?
That's the delicate dance, right? I mean, I will also, I'll attribute this to Jesse Rogers on ESPN 1000 this morning, who also said that the price, if you wait out the price closer to the deadline, the price should go down because the pressure of wanting to offload these players. So I think there's a little bit of maybe that stalemate that's going on with some of these teams right now. But yeah, as some of these other pitchers come off the board, even if the Cubs aren't targeting them, it does raise the price on some of the players that they are targeting. So the Diamondbacks obviously got a break, right, with Suarez, and his X-rays were negative tonight. But with a lot of these pitchers coming off the board, Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen right now just jumped to the top of the board, right, of best pitchers that are available.
Well, Marlins, I would say Cabrera is probably above those 2, right?
Cabrera, Alcantara, it's a little bit of what kind of brand of vodka that you enjoy for
Mackenzie
sure.
Gore would be above that.
Do you
Mackenzie
like control?
Gore would be above if he's available, and Ryan would be above if he's available.
Oh yeah, I put Mackenzie Gore and Joe Ryan above. Edward Cabrera is a little bit more like. Do you like the control? Right. He's a little bit younger. Yeah. As Luke's mentioned, he did go have an MRI on his elbow a couple weeks ago, which came back clean. But anytime you go in for an MRI, it makes you go wait.
Luke, you touched on this, but I actually do feel more comfort in Jed Hoyer being here for the long term because he'll have to live with these decisions he's going to trade off. So, if he was a lame duck like he was yesterday, I guess, maybe making some things to help this year, but not thinking beyond. Now that he's here for the long haul, I do feel more comfort in him making decisions best for this year's team, but also for the long term of the Cubs organization. So I do feel better about him being extended.
I don't think there's any question that for Cubs fans, Jed Hoyer was on the hot seat entering the offseason.
Yes.
And maybe even at the end of the offseason. Not everybody loved the Tucker deal at the beginning. They weren't sure what to make of it because everybody still doesn't know, is it a rental?
Right.
Or is it a year-long rental, or is it going to be a long-term play? We still don't know the answer to that. But the rest of his offseason moves were spectacular.
Absolutely.
Right? So we put together our list of best and worst of Jed, and I still say there's a TBD. The TBDs are still the Tucker trade because we don't know how it's all going to work out.
But you still got a top 10 offensive hitter.
Yeah, I'm all for it. And if it leads to a playoff appearance, it's a win.
1,000%, yes. But it'd be more of a win if they sign him long-term.
If somehow they stumble, don't make the playoffs, and Cam Smith turns out to be a Hall of Famer, and they don't re-sign Tucker, then it will be a loss.
Which is an irony
so
to
TBD
this.
Still
an irony of this exercise is the fact that the Kyle Tucker trade is a little bit of a TBD. Jed Hoyer got an extension today, and we all thought walking into the season for Jed Hoyer to earn said extension would be playoffs or bust. He still has not earned that yet. We are in that position. I still think that we're going. I really like this baseball team a lot, but I will say that the job isn't done, especially with the next couple of days with the trade deadline coming up. So that's what's out in front of Jed a little bit is, making sure that Kyle Tucker TBD turns into a win or a best of.
I think this is the best team in the Central. I really do. I know I'm a homer, but I believe that for many, many reasons. But I also believe with almost my entire being that Kyle Tucker signs long-term here. I really do. I think that I almost think that this extension with Jed might be a precursor to Tucker being extended, because I feel like, he's going to get the money no matter what. And I just feel like he's the perfect ball player to Ricketts to finally kind of like be all in and go uncomfortable money. He's just that perfect ball player to fit in with this team, this city. And I've heard from media sources that he loves Chicago as well. I mean, you're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, Wrigley Field, packed summer playoff hunt. What's better than that?
Yeah.
I think back to, and we're talking a lot about Rhino, and we will, especially the last half of this podcast, but I remember when Rhino signed his deal, and I think it was $7 million. And he was the first $7 million player. We go, oh, how can you pay a player $7 million?
Yeah.
And we're sitting here today, and we're talking about the great Ryne Sandberg, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005, and you say he was worth every penny.
Yep.
He was worth every peny.
84 NL MVP.
Just remember that.
10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glover, 1990 Home Run Derby champion, 7-time Silver Slugger.
We're going to have to save that story.
Oh, I know.
Too.
Hey, a championship is a championship.
We have to save that story. I got a story on that, too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll have some good memories of Rhino. I don't know how this will all work out. The wins for Jed, if you want to do losses, that can be a pretty short list, actually.
Yes.
Schwarber's number one.
And by far and away, the biggest black stain or black eye on Jed Hoyer's tenure is letting Schwarber go for nothing.
Right. Even if he wasn't going to turn into the player that he turned into because he was motivated by it, still a horrible decision.
And okay, so in hindsight, I don't remember blasting Jed for it. Okay, so I was a big fan of, it was a PR nightmare, but I was a fan of trading off the core. I did think it was time to move on, expiring contracts, and they had 5 years, they didn't do anything.
Right, but they didn't trade away him.
No. Yeah, so my point is, though, I remember he was coming off a horrible year, though.
Yeah,
Schwarber was coming off a horrible year. I want to say betting under 200. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like hindsight is 20/20 on all these moves. I can honestly say that was the biggest black eye of his tenure. But at the time, I didn't think it was monumental, and it seems to kind of have been monumental.
Well, and the part that I remember about it that really made me mad was, Schwarber already had that Bambino legend going in Wrigleyville, so sentimental. Wise, right? The romance in my heart was upset that he was gone, but you're right. I believe he hit 180 something in the 2020 year. A lot of guys didn't perform well in that shortened season that we're going to look back on, and it is going to be like a lot of things in life at that time, going to be this weird anomaly, this weird outlier of a season.
Totally.
The thing that really made me upset was that they went out and signed Jock Peterson for what, $2 million less?
Yeah.
They declined the $10 million tender on Kyle Schwarber and brought in Jock Peterson for I believe it was $7 or $8 million.
One more thing about
that was the inexcusable part.
There was no DH in the NL at that point either.
However, my argument on that is, as smart as Jed and Theo are, how could you not see it coming? Everybody could see that the DH was coming to the National League.
So you stash him for 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
If you think he's the Babe Ruth that they thought he was. Right. Go back and watch the videos of 2016. He is their favorite guy. They love Rizzo, but Schwarbs was their guy.
I get it, but you're coming off of 182. Yeah. I mean, it was not his best year.
No, I just don't think I would have given. When it happened, I was not happy, especially that he left for nothing. But I agreed it was time to reboot. So Schwarber was a bad one. Mancini was a bad one. Hosmer was a bad one.
Yes.
Tucker Barnhart.
Bullpen last year, Barnhart. Those were all bad.
They underperformed. They had to pay out money to those underperforming players.
Wow.
Yeah. But the reason he's back, PCA trade. Phenomenal. Matthew Boyd signing. Phenomenal.
Pretty good.
Shota signing.
Phenomenal.
Great deal. Brought Seiya over. Won the bidding on Seiya on the 5-year deal.
Bullpen this year. Finding Pomeranz. Finding Keller.
Yep.
Right?
Trading for Michael Busch. Cody Bellinger in 2022 when no one wanted to give him a shot.
This offseason, when he was really on the hot seat, he came through.
And payroll got slashed. He did all this with a lower payroll than they had last year. And I know you guys put it in the TBD, but I would put personally in the pro category getting Kyle Tucker. You're always like, well, we need a superstar. Well, we got our superstar. Now it's up to Tom to extend them, but we got our superstar. And I think that's a positive.
No dispute there.
We will see how that all unfolds in the next couple of days. We'll have breaking podcasts as moves are made. We're going to turn our attention back to Ryne Sandberg here after a quick commercial break. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, baseball fans. If you're looking to upgrade your drive this season, Toyota's 2025 lineup is definitely worth a look. There's the RAV4. It's versatile, reliable, and always ready for a little adventure. There's the Grand Highlander. Plenty of room. Super comfortable, great for families or long road trips. And if you're looking for efficiency, the Corolla's got you covered. It's smart, stylish, and easy on gas. You need something tougher? The Tacoma. It brings serious durability. And finally, that beautiful Camry, my first car ever. Sleek and packed with performance. Summer starts here, so visit your local dealer today. Find yours right now. You can check out the full lineup at Toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places. And Luke, man, it's a good thing to become a Chicago diehard.
Oh, it is.
CHGO diehard. Get your access to exclusive written content, Adam Johns, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch. August 15th, rooftop party. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards in your community. We can't wait to connect with all of you on an even greater level.
Listen, I've been living in beautiful Cook County, for 40 plus years. I've been a property tax guy in Cook County for 20 plus.
Bless you.
Overpaying for property taxes is something way too many Cook County residents are doing. In Cook County, you can appeal in a window, but it varies by township, closes up rapidly, very difficult to win. So right now, sign up in under 3 minutes for Ownwell. They have experts for you. In Cook County, Ownwell's has a 25% contingent fee, meaning you only pay if your property taxes are reduced. 86% of Ownwell's customers receive a reduction. Save money on your Cook County property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up in less than 3 minutes. Get your appeal going today at ownwell.com/cook. That's OWNWELL.com/cook. Cubs lose a game and lose legend Ryne Sandberg all in the same day. A battle with cancer. He had metastatic prostate cancer that he was clear, got this bill of health for the statue release last year, which now you're super thankful for that statue is there forever. We've seen that there has been a single rose laid. I'm going to guess that there's going to be all kinds of memorials there for Ryne Sandberg under the marquee, obviously acknowledging their great Hall of Famer who was inducted in 2005. It just obviously overshadows all of it. It overshadows the trade talk. It overshadows the Cubs-Brewers series. Ryno is one of those players that bridges gaps from generations. Not only because he was great, but he was great off the field too.
Yeah.
Always had time for people. I told this story when we broke in with the news that for me, I don't like to use the word hero necessarily. He was a sports hero for me. I didn't know him as a child, right? So he's a hero. For me, heroes are people that risk their lives for us, or family members that you look up to and are with you your whole life. Ryno was, starting in '84, a sports hero for me, right? And it's just, I told him, and I wish I probably would have told him more than once, but I told him in a message, I said, it's not very often that some kid gets lucky enough to watch the Sandberg game and then gets to meet and work and talk to their sports hero, right? This person they admire so greatly. And then it's even more rare that person that you look up to so much not only lives up to the hype, but exceeds the hype, blows away the hype, right? Yep. I didn't know what I was when the boss came to me at Comcast Sportsnet in 2008 and said, what do you think about the idea of approaching Ryne Sandberg and see if we could follow him around for like behind the scenes of minor league baseball? I was like, I don't think he's going to do it, but sure, let's ask him. Ryno was all in. Shocking to me. Next thing I knew, I'm on a bus to Peoria. We get to Peoria. It's just me, a producer, and a photographer. He's super gracious. He takes us to dinner. We sit down for an interview, and he just raves about Wrigley Field and what it meant to him and why he wants to pass on what he learned about baseball. A lot of what you heard in that Hall of Fame speech was repeated there. That's what he wanted to pass on to the next generation. He takes me to dinner, and we're sitting there, and then I see a side of Ryne Sandberg that I've never seen before. I don't think Cubs fans had seen before. Mm-hmm. He had a margarita the size of that baseball helmet. Okay, like a batting helmet size margarita.
That's awesome.
And he's joking with us about margaritas as big as your head, and I'm like, Ryne Sandberg drinks margaritas. This is awesome. And the only other, I wasn't totally shocked because the only other interaction I had with Ryno, when I told him that day, I said, I've never met you, but my friends and I went to Blue Frog Piano Bar.
Oh, man.
In downtown Chicago. And we went there one night, and we walked in, and I turned around from our table, and I see Ryno with his wife, Margaret, and some friends. And I was with our boss at the time, and I said, I'm not approaching him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to ask him to come on. I'm not going to go talk to him. He's having fun with his friends. That's it. Ryno gets up, shocks me. Ryno gets up and belts out Jump Van Halen.
No way.
At a piano bar that's got
picture
like
that.
maybe 75 people in it.
Oh, my God.
And the place is erupting,
It's the most
right?
Cub
Like, 'cause
thing
that's
ever,
the
right?
theme song of my Cubs childhood, Jump.
Yeah. 84?
And so fast forward to, I meet him in 2008. We're in Peoria, and I said, I got to tell you, I watched you. He's like, you were there? Oh, I rocked that, didn't I? And I was like,
that.
you got to be kidding me. Like, he was into it, right? And he's super excited about it. He's like, man, wasn't that song the best? He's like, you wait. Game starts in Peoria. What do the Peoria Chiefs run out to? As long as he was manager, his teams were running out to Jump. Because that was baseball to him. That's what he remembered. Just like he was our baseball, that song is what got him going. Oh, it gets us going.
That'd be a nice touch for them to do at Wrigley Field next homestand.
I'd like to see it every game.
Well, from now on.
Yeah.
That would be really
I'd like
cool.
to see it every game.
Yeah.
So he has these margaritas. He takes us to dinner. He asks, what do you want to do? And the next morning, he says to me, so are you going to the White House? What are you talking about? I don't think so. And he's like, well, I've got to leave in 36 hours, whatever it is, to go to the White House. President Bush invited me for a wiffle ball game with John Smoltz and a bunch of kids.
Crazy.
He's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get clearance to the White House.
Not
Nobody
with your
knows.
record.
I'm on Comcast Sportsnet. No, the White House is not going to clear me for this.
Not with your background.
And that too, no. And I'm like, he's like, we'll make it happen. Boom. White House clearance was show up at the White House. And we're standing there on the Rose Garden lawn, South Lawn, Rose Garden's behind us. And I don't take pictures. I've never took any pictures that I can think of with an athlete. I can't think of one.
Wow.
I've met Ditka. I've met Jordan, like David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Barber. Go down the list. I just didn't feel like it was professional.
Okay.
But Ryno says to you, hey, you want to take a picture? And I look around, and he's like, I'm like, I don't think that's professional. What do you think? And he's like, am I your favorite player? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you ever going to be at the White House again? I'm like, he's like, let's get a picture.
Amazing.
So he's calling people over for camera, literally like, hey, can you get a picture? And like, we take a picture, hangs in my basement, me and Ryne Sandberg at the White House, both looking a lot younger than, we did a couple years ago. And it was just, an awesome moment for us that I will never forget. And now I'm glad I took that one picture with the one player that I would want that one picture to be taken with.
Absolutely.
So I don't have the other ones, but I got one with the guy that I want it to be with. Sarah's got that picture.
Yeah, you got to tweet it out. I want to see it.
My other thought of Ryno is I also told him, I said, hey, you know who was there when you won the home run derby? This guy.
Really?
As a kid, 1990. I was a senior in high school, and I don't know how we got tickets. We got tickets to the home run derby. The wind was blowing in, and Ryno won the home run derby with 2 home runs.
Wow. Unbelievable. 2
home runs. He's like, yeah, I won that. It's like, so he won the home run derby at Wrigley Field, and of course, now we find out the Cubs will have the All-Star game again, and it's devastating to know that he will not be there for it, because that's the guy that you want thrown out to the first pitch. And I do think back to opening day, Cubs players knew something, especially the Hall of Famers, when they shoved him out there for his moment to throw
Yeah.
out that ceremonial first pitch on opening day.
Speaking of his moments, I said it earlier, but again, I have an 11-year-old son, Tristan, who loves baseball, and last year he was 10. And it gets harder to go to Cubs games when you have kids. I have a newborn baby, and I have a 10-year-old. I live in the suburbs. It's harder to go to the games.
Yeah.
Last year, I said June 23rd, Sandberg statue game. I have to be at that game.
Yeah.
So I brought my son, and it was magical. I mean, to see the statue being, revealed to everybody, and the part that breaks me up so much is, cancer is a journey. My father passed away of cancer. It hits very close to home. But Sandberg sees the statue, smile bigger than you could ever imagine, and announces to thousands of Cub fans that he's cancer-free. This is barely a year ago. Think about this man's life and his family's life. Like, he had beaten cancer, and here we are, a little over a year later, having a Remembering Ryne Sandberg episode. It's crazy to me how life comes at you very, very fast, but I'm very thankful I was at that moment to be there and celebrate him, because trust me, he felt the love. There is no one in the world that a Cub that feels the love more than Ryne Sandberg, because he is beloved in the city. But the fact that was barely a year ago, and he was cancer free is shocking to me.
It came back with a fury, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it came back with a fury. I do remember saying to him that in just messaging back and forth, like, he was somebody that so many people were inspired by as young baseball players.
Yes.
You get down in the stance, and
Yep.
you try to do the Ryne Sandberg wiffle ball
Yeah, I was
stance.
saying you imitated
Right?
his
The
batting
stance.
stance. That means you were
Everybody
doing
tried.
it fundamentally correct.
1,000%.
Everybody tried.
Yeah.
Little bounce
Everybody
back and
tried.
forth, absolutely, yeah.
So he inspired that way as a player. He inspired with his Hall of Fame speech. He inspired with the way that he carried himself on the field, off the field. That was part of what, honor, respect was one thing he talked about.
Yeah.
But he talked to me also about, honor, and that was also on your plaque at the Hall of Fame. But he continued to inspire right until his last day today, right?
Yeah.
In a way that so many people can now feel that inspiration, right? Because we can't all connect to or understand what it's like to be a Hall of Fame baseball player, or a great baseball player, or a Major League Baseball
Or the greatest
player.
second baseman of all time,
all
which
time.
I
Second
still
baseman of
think
all
that he
time.
is.
But we can all connect to the fact that he was fighting cancer, because we all know somebody,
Yeah.
or we ourselves have been impacted directly by cancer. And so he will continue to inspire even though he's gone.
And he was so transparent. One thing I'll give him I'll give him credit for a lot of things, but I couldn't believe how transparent he was on Instagram with his battling of cancer. He was posting pictures after chemo treatments, and he was telling the story.
And who didn't fist bump when he was
Absolutely.
posting those messages and liking that
Absolutely.
and being
yeah.
like, Rhino,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you
agreed.
go to all those posts, you're gonna see me with 1,000,000 blue hearts in every post.
Yeah.
It was inspiring, and,
Yeah.
and we were rooting for you, and yeah,
I tell you, like,
He was better than Joe Morgan. Barb, you're right.
yes,
he
I
was.
agree with Barb,
And you
and
know
I
what?
don't-
Maybe Jeff Kent hit more home runs, and maybe Robinson
come
Cano
on.
had a
No.
better run,
No,
and
not even
Jose
in the same.
Altuve wouldn't take his shirt off.
No.
Don't give me any of those players
Right.
other than the all-around
Yes.
player, person, teammate, representative, built in a lab how you'd want to represent the
Yeah.
city of Chicago. Like, think of all the fan favorites that we have in Chicago. Think of, like, the Joakim Noahs and the guys that just play hard,
Yeah.
respect the game, care about the city, give it their all. For me, a person who was born in 1984, I'm ground zero of that. Like,
Yeah.
template one, example one of that for me was Ryne Sandberg. And I will say that the part that I always thought about growing up, and I'm thinking about it now, is that in 1997, Rhino, in his final year, hits 25 bombs, gets a beautiful send-off right at Wrigley
Yeah.
Field. And then in 98, we have the McGuire-Sosa chase. And don't get me wrong, Mickey Morandini, great second baseman in 1998. But I will always wonder if, Kerry Wood, Sammy Sosa going to the playoffs, if Sandberg was there for that one more year. It isn't about regrets. I just I think about
No, I
that
hear ya.
sometimes
Yeah.
and it was in a strange way. Luke, you mentioned it, I think, on the other show, is it was a bit of a passing of the torch where Rhino's Wrigley was, 1982 to 1997. Yeah. And then after that, 1998, Wrigleyville became a different place. Not better or worse, you know what I mean? We've had many iterations of Wrigley Field. But, from 82 to 97, that was Sandberg's Wrigley, and it's incredible.
If you go, we did a thing, the 10 biggest what ifs podcast together in Cubs history. And one of them that we did was, what if Sammy was never traded to Northside? Well, we'll talk about if Ryne Sandberg was never traded to the Chicago Cubs. Let me tell you. More on that in a second, but first a word from our sponsors. Oh, guys, back in my 20s, people asked, where do you get those slab packs? And I'd say, well, it's just simply sit-ups. Now they ask me in my 50s, and I say, well, I get my slab packs from Arena Club. You're looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip open a pack of cards? Arena Club is changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. You got to check out these slab packs. You can rip one open for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. Every pack has grails that are at least 20 times the price of the pack. From Digital Showroom, you can trade, sell, auction, whatever you want. And if you're heading to the 45th Annual National Sports Collectors Convention, be sure to stop by the Arena Club booth. It's all happening July 30th through August 3rd at the Convention Center in Rosemont. They'll have special promotions available for both new and current customers. Right now, you can save 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO. Use that code CHGO.
This summer, new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Employees Pricing Plus Sales event. Right now, lease the 2025 Ram 15 for $1,500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $99 a month for 27 months. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The expert team at Ray's CDGR is here to help you during every single step of your car shopping journey. They prioritize affordability, and you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And with Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons or hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. It is that simple. So go check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories. Don't miss out on the Employee Pricing Plus Sales event for huge savings on the Ram 1500. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today in Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. Go there today.
Ray baby. Cubs lose, and we are remembering the legend Ryne Sandberg, who passed away today at the age of 65. Just devastating news. We've also had a lot of fun memories, right? We've had a lot of good times talking about Rhino the player, Rhino the person. Great to see some of the statue stuff. Marquee is at the same time putting stuff up and will continue to run stuff about Ryne Sandberg. Craig Counsell, I believe, just spoke about Ryne Sandberg. We're working on that for a second after the Cubs game today. Here is Craig Counsell after the game today in Milwaukee.
We just addressed the team and told them the news that of Rhino's passing, and we're saddened of the loss of a great man. We were lucky as a group this year to have Rhino in spring training, and it was an honor to be around a man battling for his life, but wanting to come to the baseball park and spend his day with us. And I know it meant a lot to everybody in there, and we're grateful that he was willing to spend that time with us when things weren't going great for him. So it's a sad day for the Chicago Cubs, and he was a great Cub, and I'm grateful that we got a chance to get to know him this spring.
What was that like?
Yeah, it's what's so cool is that I think what we do for a living is about competing and beating people, but his presence was almost due to kindness, and that's such a rare, and he was probably living at a higher level than the rest of us, and I think that's what he was known for. That's what made him special. and that's why people like that make you better. They make you better people.
That was Cubs manager Craig Counsell talking about Ryne Sandberg, how he told the team about his passing today. Was just while that was playing, I was watching Marquee, and they were showing that ceremonial first pitch on the opening day at Wrigley Field, and Lee Smith and Billy Williams and all the Hall of Fame Cubs, Fergie Jenkins, and they're all sitting there, and they shoved him forward and said, no, you throw out that first pitch. And so, it's one of the last times we really saw Ryno. And so great that it was watching him throw baseball.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
smiling,
right?
Yeah, smiling. And if I can share one thing that I think will make the chat smile and everybody watching smile, is something that I never knew before. 2 years ago, I interviewed Sean Dunston, and we all know Sandberg as like the standard of Gold Glove defense,
Yeah.
right? And Dunston told a story about that. Yeah, Sandberg was a great defender, but he hated pop-ups, and he did not want to catch a pop-up. And when the ball would go up in the air, he would be like, "Yours." Like, Dunston, get that, or Grace, get that. He did not want pop-ups. As a kid, and even getting older, I never knew that about him. But Dunston tells a story that he was not a big fan of pop-ups. I said it before, I'll say it again. My father's favorite player of all time was Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub. But for my age, and I feel like we're all kind of in the same age, I think Ryne Sandberg was our Mr. Cub, because I never saw Banks play. I heard stories, I've seen videos, my father told me stories, but like I never saw him play. So I think for a big chunk of the Cub fan base, we just lost our Mr. Cub, and that's why it stings so bad.
The Cubs have released now what the patch will look like that they will wear for the rest of the season. Sarah, if you want to find it on Twitter, Megan Montemurro has tweeted it out. It is the number 23 with Ryno's signature. And I hope that means something to every guy in that clubhouse, right? I hope that hits. They got to meet him. All these guys saw him at spring training. He was fighting for his life, and he was out there trying to help them. So I hope it means something to some of these players as they go through some of the tough times here, because nobody's going to go through something the last couple months of the season tougher than what Ryno was going through then.
Yeah.
Let alone the first part of this season.
Well, it humbles you and shows you it's just a game, right? But at the end of the day, if this extra motivation can get our boys to go deep into the playoffs and hopefully win a World Series, how poetic would it be to do it for Ryno?
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Well, and on top of it, it is just a game, and life is about being a good person and being around your loved ones and trying to put out the best forth that you can out into this world while you are on this earth.
Which he did as well as anybody.
As well as anybody. Yeah. But you know what? Also, it's just a game. The obsessive sicko sports fan in me, though, too, is like, I'm just very thankful to tonight be a Cubs fan, and I hope everyone in the chat, I'm not saying, kumbaya and all that stuff, but I do hope that Cubs fans in this season, that we do come together a little bit tighter, because I do think that's what Ryno would have wanted. And respecting the game is also about loving the game. And being a Cubs fan is a great thing. And the stories that you guys have told tonight are so special. And all this stuff, and we did, and Luke, we did the What If show, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about the Lou Brock trade. What if they never traded Lou Brock? And we talked about what if they never win the World Series?
What if they never traded Sammy?
What if they never traded Sammy? What if they never traded for Ryno?
Ugh.
And how? And you talk about us getting there to the mountaintop and winning the World Series in 2016. None of that happens without Ryno. It's a butterfly effect. I truly do believe that. Wrigleyville, being a Cubs fan, what it means. I don't think we get there. It might still be 100 and blah, blah, blah years counting without the player and the integrity and the skill and the legend of Ryne Sandberg.
And kudos to Dallas Green, because what I've heard is that he insisted on throwing in Sandberg or the deal doesn't happen.
Just throw it in.
Yeah, so we could all say we got lucky, but Dallas Green was not doing that trade if the kid, Sandberg, wasn't involved. So kudos to Dallas Green for changing our entire course of our franchise.
Tell us about Ivan De Jesus,
we all
Luke.
we all want these great players to
Yeah.
come back in the next couple days to the Cubs and be added to the roster.
Yes.
Jed, please don't trade the next Ryne Sandberg.
Don't do it.
You
Don't do
know,
it.
well, that'll be easy because there's never going to be another Ryne
No.
Sandberg. He was
He's
one of a kind, and I will say that like when we talk about trades in Cubs history, a lot of people will go with Arrieta because it led to a World Series, and Jake Arrieta was an unbelievable trade in Cubs history. I will take Hall of Fame career of Ryne Sandberg over even that.
Because it wasn't Sandberg's fault we didn't win a World Series.
No.
Baseball is a team sport.
Yes.
So, Arrieta also had Rizzo and KB and Lester. I mean, like, he had a team around him that could win a championship. I agree with you. The greatest trade of all time, hands down, is getting Sandberg from Philadelphia, 1,000%. And I don't even think it's close.
I mean, it's one of the greatest and worst baseball trades in baseball
Right,
history.
right.
Not just in Cubs history.
Right.
For the Cubs, it's one of the greatest trades in baseball history. And
during a time when
other
the Cubs never won anything. You know what I mean? And during a time when the
No.
Cubs didn't win much.
So we said,
They win that.
what would have happened if Sammy was never traded south side to north side? And we talked about that. But the Sandberg one has the same answer that I had for the Sammy one. I'm not sure Wrigleyville is the same.
Nope.
Right.
Harry Carey
No
had
shot.
a big role in it.
He loved Sandberg. He had a love affair with Sandberg.
Loved him.
That was his guy.
And Sammy had a big role in it.
Yep.
But man, oh man, Rhino and the Sandberg game were the beginning of it.
Yes.
That was the beginning of it, and that team was the beginning of it.
No shot Andre Dawson blank checks the Chicago Cubs without Ryne Sandberg on the team.
Here is the patch the Cubs will wear if you are
wow.
Awesome.
checking on our YouTube view of this. There it is, the 23, and to the side of it, the 23 in red, white pinstriping around the side. I'm trying to do my best, Pat Hughes. And then Rhino's classic signature to the side of it that the Cubs will wear for the rest of the season to honor Ryne Sandberg. You want to show that picture?
Photos from the vault. Photos from the vault.
My friend Sarah Lauk just sent me this tweet, or a text. This is the Blue Frog karaoke bar. I don't believe it's even there anymore. And
it's not.
that's my buddy Tom Samario and I. And she must have grabbed this picture while we were standing there. That is Rhino in the back singing karaoke and his wife Margaret in front. And so when I tell you,
Wait, that's you on the far right?
far right, that's me.
He looks
I
the
would
same.
I would have never picked. No, I wouldn't have picked you out. I
There,
wouldn't have.
so that's me on the right, and that's Rhino in the back. And that was the first time I saw Rhino away from a ballpark. And then later I would tell him about that. And he's like, yeah, I really rocked it. I remember that. I was
I
singing
love
Jump.
it.
He's like, that's my go-to, you know?
love it.
And
That's
so,
my
And that's got some high notes in it
Wait a
too.
second.
That's not an easy. That's not a walk in the park karaoke song.
That's Sandberg's go-to of like a list of songs that he belts out.
I mean, that means he must do karaoke more than I thought. If you would have given me a list of people and said, this person you will never see this person do karaoke.
Right.
Derek Rose.
Derek Rose, I
Ryne
guess, is
Sandberg.
probably number one, but
Yeah.
Ryne Sandberg would have been a top 5 at the time.
1,000%.
But for me, at least from my perspective, it seems like his whole personality changed when he met Margaret.
Yeah.
Like everything changed for him. Now his teammates may have seen a different guy, but publicly, as Ed Hardig was saying, very quiet, very stoic, serious always about baseball.
Yeah.
We got to see some of that guy
Yeah.
after his playing days. He opened that up to the fan base, and I think that's another reason that fans just fell in love with him again, right?
And
after his playing.
Dunston, during that interview, told me that he was a big jokester. Like the players knew him
Prankster,
as a
yeah.
jokester, a prankster.
Yeah.
So we all saw this shy, good-looking young a guy that played the game the right way, and he was. But apparently there was a side of Sandberg that we didn't see until after his playing days, and that's what Dunston confirmed.
So I don't like to do podcasts that are over an hour, but we're going to tonight. And so what we're going to do is, for those of you that are watching on Fast Channel, make sure you jump over to the YouTube feed. It's at our new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. We will continue the show there, right? For those of you on Fast Channel, we want to say thanks for watching. We will have a post-game show for you tomorrow. We also will have more breaking news podcasts as any moves are made by the Cubs. We had 2 of them today. Neither one we expected.
Right.
And one was happy news and one was really sad news with Ryne Sandberg's passing. So we are going to go to overtime. I think this is the first time I've ever done it on the Cubs podcast. But Rhino deserves more than 1 hour.
Yes, he does.
So Rhino, I would agree, Justin, is my generation's Mr. Cub.
Yep.
And if you're just kind of jumping in right now, Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman, Sarah running the 1s and 2s. We're trying to go a little overtime here. Rhino passed away, and Craig Counsell spoke to the team after the game, told them the news. I'm going to guess that it was not easy news for some of them because he personally took an interest in several of them for sure,
Nico.
if not the whole team. Nico Horner, trying to teach them anything he could about the game of baseball, anything he wanted to share or learn from him, he wanted to answer those questions. Just, I don't know what else to say about him. He was that special in that I don't know anybody, I've never met anybody, I've never heard anybody that has ever said anything negative about Ryne Sandberg.
Bruce
Ever.
Sutter?
Ever.
that day.
That's the truth. Bruce Sutter loved him.
Yeah.
Also has passed away. Bruce Sutter was good friends with Ryne Sandberg right down to the end. Like, you could see that the Sandberg, you could see from Sutter's perspective on how you would say, man, all this attention, this kid, I'm already going to be a Hall of Famer, and he's getting this, and he's going to make it his day because he hit 2 home runs off me. Mm-hmm. He embraced it, and he loved him. And they talked about, that's because Rhino was such a great guy.
Yeah.
If he was a jerk, that relationship would not have been that way.
Isn't it crazy how the Sandberg game, and they call it, I mean, it's perfectly titled, but isn't it crazy how the Sandberg game turned him into a superstar? I mean,
instantly.
Instantly. And I think it goes back to like, now there's so many avenues and so many replays, and you have your handhelds and you can watch things. But back then, it was only on TV live. You couldn't record it. You know, it was live. You watched it, and all us boys and girls that love baseball were watching that national game, and it turned Sandberg and Wrigley Field into stars instantly. And it's so crazy to me, like one game, because like we love PCA. He's awesome, right? I don't know if there's one game that turned him into a star, but for Sandberg, it was that game turned him into a household name and a star in the baseball world.
Well, and I mentioned earlier, I'm born in 1984, and as you mentioned, maybe old video isn't readily available, right? So the Sandberg game to me was told to me and passed down to me by my father and my uncles, told in garages around a barbecue, like on a holiday. And it was them telling it in the 7 or 8 different ways. Each story, maybe a detail was changed every single time. But the end of it always was the day that Sandberg couldn't be stopped. Mm-hmm. And then day that he not only tied the game, but in the next inning, he comes up again and ties it, you know what I mean? And
that's
ties
the crazy
it again.
part is people think, like, it wasn't a walk-off. He tied it twice.
No, it was just
somebody else won it, but like it
and
was
he had
just
other hits of the game too.
He was
like
four,
that
he
wasn't
was
it.
4 for. He had 3 singles. I think he was 5 for 6 that day.
It was obviously one of the games that he will have never forgotten, and will always be remembered for. And I think that's one thing that's different about Cubs baseball is that we didn't have until 2016, 2015. We went through a stretch where it was just lovable losers.
Yeah.
Right? Everything was lovable losers. And that game changed it.
Yes.
And Rhino changed it with 2 swings of the bat against a guy that was thought of as unhittable.
Yeah.
And here was this skinny guy who didn't hit that many home runs in his MVP season. Was it 19?
I want to say it was 19.
19, right?
Yeah.
So it was a different game back then. You go back and you watch that video of the Sandberg game, you're like, my goodness, he's skinny. Like, the players just look different, but he was athletic.
Yes. And you know that story of how he became a power hitter? Do you know that story or no?
No, tell us.
So I want to say it was Jim Fry that pulled him aside.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes,
said,
you're right. Yeah.
like, you got to start, like, you can hit home runs.
Yeah.
You got to start like, I forget the advice he gave him, but it was Jim Fry talking him into
pulling the ball more.
pulling the ball,
Yeah.
becoming a power hitter. And I mean, if he doesn't have that conversation, we might be looking at offensively someone like Nico Horner, who's a phenomenal player, but the power isn't really there. But Sandberg changed early on in his career to become a power hitter, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah, that 1984 season, 19 triples, 36 doubles, 19 home runs,
Wow.
84 runs batted in, 319 average, 8.5 WAR. In May, he hits 373. In June, he hits 376.
And numbers are numbers, Joey, but that's not, to me, that's not why he was the MVP.
Right.
The numbers are great, but lots of guys put up good numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
He put the losers of baseball,
Yes.
the bums of baseball with their bleacher bums, and he put them on the map. He put them on his back. He put them on the 23, and he rode them into the spotlight and changed the franchise.
I think there are two players from 84 until probably the 2015, 2016 phenomenal Cubs teams that put the franchise on their backs, and they couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
Ryne Sandberg and Sammy Sosa. I think those two guys put the franchise on their backs, and again, I love them both. They both are in my top three players of all time, but they couldn't be more different. But I think Sandberg was the 84 until retirement, and then Sammy was after that.
But I love that in his final year here with us, that Rhino showed us exactly who he was in that moment. Rhino, who had said a lot of things about Sammy shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and anybody that's connected to steroids shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because of honor and respect and integrity. He said all those things, and he believed them strongly. But Rhino also had forgiveness in his heart. And there was this super flashy guy who doesn't really want to say he's sorry,
Right.
but wants the spotlight back and was loved by Cubs fans too. And this humble legend who is in the Hall of Fame and knew the other guy well and had said some things like, that's not how I wanted to play the game. And at the end of his life, could lean across and shake hands and hug Sammy Sosa.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to learn something from Ryne Sandberg, there's something to learn.
And that bridges,
Forgive.
That bridges the gap, too, because I think I'm at that perfect age of, my top two players are Sandberg and Sosa. I understand Rhino's resistance. I get
too.
it. But then when Sandberg retired, I loved Sammy Sosa and the home runs, So, there are a lot of fans, I don't know how you guys feel, but a lot of fans like me that they love both those guys, and they couldn't be more different.
Yeah, well, that goes.
I have some video. Sorry to interrupt,
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
I have some video of Rhino at Cubs convention in 2020. If you guys want to
signing
autographs.
Look at how he's like. Look at him being
Enough
just
said.
flooded by people. I didn't have time to send it to you, but I have similar pictures from Peoria.
Yeah.
Right when he was the manager in Peoria, it's like everybody that came to a game in Peoria or a Whitecaps game in Michigan or anywhere around minor league baseball that he was showing up, they were all showing up to see Ryne Sandberg.
Yeah, right.
Right? And the players knew that, but he didn't want them to feel it, so he gave them their time before the game, and he signed those autographs for, I'm telling you, forever. Hours he was signing autographs and jerseys for people all across Middle America that wanted his autograph. There are some players that don't want to sign an autograph unless they're getting paid for it.
Right.
Rhino was not that guy.
Is there any part of you that is a little bummed out that he didn't get a chance to manage the Cubs after doing things the right way and coming up the ranks?
There was at the time.
Okay.
I was very mad at the Cubs for not giving him a chance.
Yeah.
I was really unhappy that Jim Hendry didn't give him a chance. I don't think the Cubs ever really wanted him to be a manager for whatever reasons, And now in hindsight, when I look back at it, whether they thought he was the right guy or whatever, when I look back at it in hindsight, managers are hired to be fired.
Yeah.
And he eventually got fired in Philadelphia. I'm glad he got the opportunity to be a major league manager because that's what he wanted to do. I'm glad he got the opportunity to ride the bus with a bunch of kids around the country and teach them baseball because that's what he wanted to do. But I'm no longer bitter that he was never the manager of the Cubs because I know it would have ended poorly. Not because I don't think he could have done a good job. Some people say he wasn't going to be a good manager. Whatever.
Yeah.
You can believe whatever you want to believe about whether or not he was going to be able to connect with players. This day and age, we just watched players talk about what he meant to them from this current Cubs team. So that's not true.
Yeah.
But it would have ended eventually, just like Joe Madden won the World Series.
Right.
He would have been fired. And I don't know if we're sitting here today. He would have been remembered as a Cubs legend. Cubs fans would have always loved him. But I don't know if his relationship with the Cubs would have been the same had he managed the team. Because it would have ended in a way that I think would have crushed him.
Yeah.
Well, and you look,
that said, I just told you about how there was Sammy, he shakes his hand. He was also a forgiving man. So maybe it would have been okay. But I'm glad the way it went down, and I'm glad he was there in 2016.
Right.
And it was great I think one of the great things about 2016 was one of the greatest things was people taking their loved ones that had gone ahead of them and bringing TVs or transistor radios or putting a Cubs hat on a grave or all the people that put Cubs hats in caskets over the years, right? All of those things. But for me, it was great for those Cubs players that felt like they were close because, man, I'm telling you, they were close in 84.
Very close.
And for the Cubs fans that lived through the Billy Goat curse or whatever you want to call it, the tough years, for them to see the franchise win it when they still loved the franchise. Not everybody still loves the franchise. I don't know if Michael still loves the Bulls.
I would argue he doesn't, but okay.
Right?
Right.
The Bulls have fired Scottie Pippen. But Rhino's got his statue.
Yeah.
And rest in peace as, for me, Mount Rushmore of Chicago Cubs.
Who is it?
For me, he's Mount Rushmore of Chicago athletes.
Okay.
Obviously, it's
Tim,
Jordan.
Walter, Jordan.
For me, there's probably two Cubs on it. It's probably Ernie Banks is still on there as Mr. Cub.
Yeah.
But for my childhood, for like watching players, it's Sandberg. It's Jordan. It might be Jordan and Pippen.
Right.
And it's Walter Payton.
Walter Payton, yeah.
Unquestionably Walter Payton.
Yeah.
It's those four.
Those four.
Probably those four.
Yeah.
Maybe Scotty is subbed out for somebody else, but my guess is it's probably Scotty is number 4. For my, like the peak of my fandom.
For sure.
As a child, as a young adult, those are the 4. And there's no question in my mind that Rhino is on that Mount Rushmore. None.
Can I go a step further and ask you the Mount Rushmore of the Cubs for you? Who are the 4? Obviously, Rhino, obviously.
I guess it's a different list if I'm talking about my fandom or the greatest Cubs of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
can KB and Anthony Rizzo have a
right?
one
Do they
neck,
get
two
do they
head?
get, do they get meshed in? There's
Yeah.
there's no question that Ernie and Rhino are on there no
Right.
matter what.
Yes, for sure.
Right? Some people would say PK Wrigley. Some people would definitely say Sammy. Others
Yes.
would say not Sammy.
Right.
The other 2 spots are debatable.
Okay.
The first 2 spots
Not
are
debatable.
not debatable.
You're right.
Ernie Banks, Ryne Sandberg. I would say Billy Williams, even though I didn't see a lot of Billy Williams playing.
Right.
And for me, probably Santo. Now, some would say Theo. I'm going to save mine for just...
Players.
I'm not putting Harry Carey on the list. For me, it's just players.
Right, players.
For me, it's just players. And so the other 2 spots are debatable. We've had some Hall of Fame players, and we've had championship teams. All I know is Ernie and Rhino are on that list.
I would say, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, please go ahead.
I would say for me, the non-negotiables are Ernie Banks, Ryne Sandberg, and I would say Sammy Sosa
Sure.
as a non-negotiable as well. that fourth one, we could be here all day and figure that one out.
Yeah, I was kind of holding this one, but you started talking about Mount Rushmore. I would love to ask you both, who have years in the industry, interviewing people. Luke, you talked earlier about the David Robinsons of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, and I've interacted with celebrities too as well, and it doesn't bother me. But there's certain people in my life that if they walked into this room right now, I would feel a little different. I would feel the aura, or I would feel, I don't know, maybe not quite myself, right? And I think Ryno's on that list. Like, Luke, did it feel that way when you first started interacting with Ryno? I know you've talked about this is my childhood hero.
Yeah.
Did it? I know you're an industry pro, man, but for a couple seconds did it waver a little bit of like, I have to kind of get myself together here being around Ryno?
Yeah, there was a surreal feeling to just sitting and drinking a margarita with Ryne Sandberg,
Yes.
right? Like that,
I would
like that.
imagine
That's
so.
different,
Yeah.
but he was such a regular guy. Aside from being totally irregular in that he was a spectacular person and an unbelievable baseball player, but a regular guy in that you could sit down across from him and there was no anxiety asking him a question.
Mm-hmm.
You ask Michael Jordan a question for the first time and your voice is a little bit higher.
Yeah, your
Yes.
heart's beating a little faster.
Your voice is a little
Yes.
bit higher.
Yeah.
And it was for me. Like, I spit out like 4, but there were questions.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I asked.
Right.
But Ryno, you sit down and, he's talking about Jump and Van Halen, and he's
Right.
talking about how Wrigley's the greatest place in the world, and everything is green, and all you could see was that white ball coming at you, and it's all that mattered. And everybody was looking at that white ball because there were no other distractions, just the green, right? And that's how I think of him tonight.
Could
Him
there,
looking at that white ball on the green.
Yeah. Could there be a bigger superstar in Chicago that couldn't it be more of a normal person?
Right.
I feel like he was your everyday
Yeah.
person, but I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, arguably one of the top 2
Yeah.
greatest couple of all time, but he's a normal guy, I would imagine. I mean, the times I met him, he couldn't have been more normal and more nice and more down to earth. And you've had way more experience with him than I have, but that seems to be what I'm getting from you.
We've had one here, not the same type of player, but Ben Zobrist sat here, World Series MVP, and is just a regular guy.
Yeah.
He's just a nice guy, right? Like, I always said, I started the business in 93, was my first internship. And I met John Elway that summer.
Oh, wow.
And I was a big Broncos fan as well at the time. And I was like, oh, wow, this is intense,
Yeah.
Of all the athletes I have met, been fortunate and blessed to have interviewed, asked a question, worked with, like Ryno working on the 2016 stuff, there's still only like a handful, maybe 2 handfuls that I would say to myself, growing up in the family that I grew up, that I would say, I want to introduce that guy to my family, to my grandmother, my mother, my father, right? And it's a small list because some you just don't know and you don't want to ask, right? But there's some in my heart that I would be like, boom, heartbeat, would do it. Ryno's top of the list. David Robinson's on that list. Steve Kerr's on that list, right? Joe Girardi's on that list. But Ryno is a legend, just like David Robinson, right? Like one of the greatest to ever do it. And there is not an ounce of hesitation that I would want to introduce him. And it's funny because I was sitting with my in-laws who also loved Ryne Sandberg, and we were at a barbecue place in Vernon Hills, City Barbecue, and Ryno walked in and was ordering. And this was after all this stuff. I won my first Emmy because of Ryno. I don't care about things like that.
Yeah.
My Emmys sit in a crawl space, except for that one.
That's cool.
Not because I felt like I did my best job on it. It's because I did it with Ryne Sandberg.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Like, the one thing that bothers me more than anything is that it should have been better than it was because it was Ryne Sandberg.
Yeah.
But so we're sitting, so I clearly know, I've spent plenty of time with him, and he walks into that barbecue place, and I was like, I'll introduce you if you want. And they were like, no. I'm like, I really don't want to, like, even though I know he wouldn't care, right?
Right.
I don't want to bother him. I still don't want to bother him. So when I told him for the Sandberg podcast thing that I did, I don't know, 5 years later, I was like, yeah, I was going to do, I saw you at City Barbecue, like 8 months ago or whatever. And whatever time it elapsed. And he's like, why didn't you come up? I'm like, well, it's your time. You get bothered all the time. You don't need me bringing him up. And he's like, oh man, I would have loved to. That great barbecue. Like, that's just how he was. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the conversation goes from legend to just salt of the earth guy.
Yeah. And I, earlier in our, the break-in podcast we did, I did share this story, but I met him a few times. But the one time I sat in front of him at Wrigley Field, I didn't really even know I was in front of him until they did Legends of the Game, and they put the camera right over there. Oh my gosh, Sandberg's behind me. And I didn't want to do a picture because I already had a couple, and I didn't want to fanboy too much, But I got to hear, I wasn't eavesdropping, but I got to hear him in just his casual conversation with his friends, with his wife, and every few minutes there was a fan that wanted a picture, that wanted a hug, and he was gracious and did every single one of them, but he never ever talked crap about anybody. He never complained about it. And again, I'm kind of eavesdropping a little bit. He was just nice in front of the camera and off the camera. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot about somebody. It really does.
The Cubs also lost today, and we're going overtime because Ryne Sandberg passed away earlier today after a brutal battle with cancer, which will inspire us the way he attacked it and updated us on it and drew inspiration from Cubs fans as he posted on his Instagram account multiple times what the messages, while he wasn't going to respond to everybody, what they meant to him. So now I would suggest that you flood his Instagram page with those same messages for his family.
Yeah.
Not for Rhino, for his family, the grandkids that will get to see those messages someday, right? Like, you can speak to them about what their grandfather meant to you. Mm-hmm. So feel free to do that. We have a couple of super chats. I don't think they all revolve around Ryne Sandberg. Some around today. Super chat from, well, this is juxtaposition of fun. Carm's poop takes. Super chat. Rhino, be laughing at that. $20. Rest in peace, Rhino, the Cub of my childhood. In terms of tonight's performance, anybody else have the sinking feeling the Brewers are going to win the division again this year? No. I have a feeling you're going to see a different Cubs team, and I'm hoping that the inspiration of 23 on their jerseys and his signature will mean something to these players.
Yeah.
I wish they could play right now.
Want to win for themselves anyway.
And let's not
but
forget
now
this,
we'll know that there's more to it.
And let's not forget, too, tonight's game, no way around it. It started great, and then we blew it, right? So it was not a good game. But we got crushed by the Yankees in Game 1. We got crushed by the White Sox in Game 1. There's a reason they played 3-game series.
We were
won
down
both those
3-1.
series. Right. We won both those series. So am I predicting that we're going to win the next two? Maybe. But you can never get too high or too low on one game, because I've seen it happen a million times. It doesn't matter what the final score is. It counts as one loss. We get back out tomorrow. We get back out on Wednesday. Let's win a series. Let's go.
Marquee is going to have Rhino-centric broadcasting all day during the day today, starting at like 5 a.m. or something crazy. They're showing some great stuff right now. I actually don't want to keep you from it, right? So I want to thank Joey and Justin for helping me get through this without totally sobbing and having to run off the set. And for reliving some of these memories of Rhino. We talked Cubs baseball. We will continue to talk more about Rhino and Cubs baseball. We'll do the post-game show tomorrow. We will have breaking news podcasts if and when they make a trade. And I have seen video already of Cubs fans already putting their roses and flowers at the base of the Ryne Sandberg statue. There will never be somebody like Ryne Sandberg. He was our Mr. Cub for a generation of players. He is one of the greatest Cubs of all time, the greatest second baseman in Cubs history, and more importantly, a Hall of Fame human being. So thoughts and prayers for his family, the Sandberg family, his wife Margaret, his grandchildren, his children, and everybody else that loved Ryne Sandberg, make sure you send a message to that Instagram page, and maybe we'll do something special here at CHGO so you can pass them along that way too. Thanks for watching the CHGO Cubs podcast. And as always, in honor of Rhino, don't forget, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.